A lot of people are worried on social media about Tucker Carlson after he made some very odd statements about presidential candidate Pete Buttigieg. Now, Pete Buttigieg, he's been getting a lot of media attention by the establishment, by corporate media. They love him. And look, he's well-spoken in several different languages. He's young. He's part of the LGBT community. And so he checks off a lot of boxes for the establishment. And so, they like him. Now, for me, I'm super skeptical. He doesn't have any policy proposals. And, of course, I think that's part of the establishment's love of Mayor Pete. But now, Tucker Carlson had a little bit of a different take on Mayor Pete. Let's watch.
They want to consume him like a hearty stew. Every last drop of Buttigieg. Yum. They're all in.
So I guess that's more of a critique of media. Nonetheless, that was a little strange. I mean, did anybody else feel a little bit uncomfortable watching that? Though, if you felt uncomfortable with that, you're going to feel really uncomfortable with this.
Every last drop of Buttigieg.
Every last drop of Buttigieg. Every last drop.
I'm sorry. I had to. Now, naturally, there's a lot of people that are a little creeped out about Carlson, what he said. And others, of course, saw it as an attack against Buttigieg's sexual orientation. Buttigieg is gay, and if he somehow became the Democratic nominee, became president, he would be the first LGBT member of, or LGBT president. Okay, so now let me be clear here. Now, I have my own criticisms of Mayor Pete. He's not with me, for example, on policy, Medicare for all, free college, etc. I think that's pretty much enough to not get my vote, at least when it comes to the primaries. But he was also involved in some high-level establishment meetings with Neera Tanden, Chuck Schumer, and Nancy Pelosi to try to find a way to stop Bernie Sanders from becoming the nominee. For me, no thanks. No thanks, Pete. Look, he seems like a nice enough guy, but none of the reasons I'm against Mayor Pete have anything to do with how nice he is or him being a member of the LGBT community. I actually hope that one day we do have a LGBT president so that there are people that can feel that representation. And I think that matters. But for me, if you're not for progressive policy on top of that, then I'm not going to be interested in you. And I'm sorry. That said, let's go to making fun of Tucker Carlson now. Now, Rex Hupke says, and this is making fun of Tucker Carlson, obviously. I'm very tempted to write an entire column about how much I want to devour Pete Buttigieg. The response was, he's married, Tucker. He's not into you. That is true, I'm assuming. Now, I'm not even going to say that Twitter handle. I'm sensing a serious man crush. Sorry, Tucker. Mayor Pete is an absolute delight, but he's happily married. Hey, look, it's 2019. If you do have a man crush on Pete Buttigieg, I don't care. We're all progressives here. I mean, you're not, but we are. So we don't mind. And I mean, come on.
Every last drop of Buttigieg.
Every last drop of Buttigieg. Every last drop.
I'm going to have to put that on my soundboard. I mean, come on, man. Reader Adrift says, he looks like he abhors gay people even more than he abhors women in POC. So that's, of course, an attack, assuming that this is an attack on his sexuality, which it could be, definitely. Now, Gary Bedard says, Dem darling, oh, I can't wait for the onslaught of veiled homophobic puns like this one. Will Pixie Pete fly into the White House? Will Buttigieg make America a fairy wonderland? I'm not against any of those things, but really, I really wish Pete Buttigieg was better on Medicare for all and free college and progressive priorities. Then, great. That'd be awesome. But look, with Tucker Carlson, No, it's gross. There's actually no room for these kinds of attacks. And so, fun aside, we know what Tucker is saying. We know who he's talking to. We know people who are bigoted and anti-gay. And look, there's no excuse for it. And I'll actually defend, Mayor Pete against these attacks because, well, we're progressive and we actually care about this stuff. And we don't like these kinds of terrible homophobic attacks. So, in fact, I've got a post here that kind of shares how I feel about Mayor Pete, and it's from Tanya Singh. Now, she writes, Pete Buttigieg's unity and service type of messaging and campaign rubs me the wrong way. I get that he's trying to distinguish himself in the pack that ranges from center-right to progressive, and his strategy is working out, as of course, he's getting all that media attention. People who don't find themselves fighting economic, social, environmental, and racial battles will be attracted to his campaign. And of course, that means people, who are more wealthy, who are better off economically, and the pundit class. Well, they look at him and they see maybe a young JFK or more like an Obama type of figure in Pete Buttigieg. Because he's talking about unity, he's talking about platitudes. He's saying, you know what, we need less policy focus and we need more unity focus. And again, I'm not interested in that. I'm not interested in unity, especially with people like Mitch McConnell. No, for Republicans, I want to crush Republicans. I want to destroy them and then bathe in their tears. That's what I want to do. And then maybe later on, they can come to us for, bipartisanship, okay? They can come to us on policy. So I'm not interested at all in that message, but it does appeal very much so to older liberals who are actually doing very well. In fact, Singh continues, she says, he's talking to the liberals who want peace and nationalism more than justice and equality. Pete is the candidate for well-off boomers who like charismatic young candidates like JFK and Bill Clinton. Pete is playing the personality game, and it's working for a large chunk of voters who go by that. That's right. Now, she notes, since she is a part of a marginalized community, unfortunately for him, marginalized communities are finally starting to feel empowered by the electoral system and are asserting their issues. Pete isn't the guy for us. But, she adds, that said, I will defend him against any homophobic attacks. And that's generally how the young, diverse, progressive base feels about Pete Buttigieg. Other comments on that thread from fellow progressives said, totally agree, I don't like his policies at all, but leave he and his husband alone. They are adorable, which they are. He is a nice guy. Another comment, and I'm trying to be nice, but his policies are pretty empty and his record not so good as far as I can tell. So you look into his record when he was mayor of South Bend, he actually did govern on more of the conservative side. And so, and how he dealt with, for example, the homeless population and trying to revamp and actually demolish, I think, over 1,000 homes that, in South Bend. That's kind of a terrible policy. And it did not help the homeless population in that area. But this commenter continues, I will defend him, though, from the hate mongers. I do take joy in seeing him make them uncomfortable, though. In that way, his campaign is good. I agree. And so, look, this is how real progressives view Pete Buttigieg, right? Now, they think, I like him as a person, his identity, I will defend him. But when it comes to policy, which I think is the most important thing here, he just doesn't seem to measure up. And I think that's an incredibly fair criticism. I share in that criticism. And look, this is a presidential primary. It's a Democratic primary. And we need to find that candidate that identifies with us most. And if you're an older boomer or someone who's more into Pete Buttigieg, God bless, right? Go ahead, go forward and back the candidate that you think represents you the most. I don't feel represented, but if you're an LGBT American and you do, that's fine. That's fine. And just note that progressives, even though we don't agree with him on the policies, we will step up and we will defend our own against the vicious, hateful attacks from the GOP. And so this clip with Tucker Carlson, this is how Carlson, the right wing, view him. And so you can see that they're not the same as progressives. Progressives will stand up. We will fight to protect his identity while still calling him out on the issues. Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that free video. Now I'm going to have to ask you a favor. Between the demonetization and the YouTube algorithm messing around with view counts, etc., we're having a hard time adjusting to the new YouTube reality, which is where you guys come in. See, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/TYTNation, set up to help us rely on you guys, the viewers, instead of big corporate ads. Look, you know the show. You know I'm not in favor of big corporations anyway. So help us transition away from relying on the ad model to pay the bills and sign up to be a patron, patreon.com/TYTNation. That goes a long way to help us keep the lights on. And you guys will know that you're supporting independent progressive media.